coaching. Home of the coaching masteries.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Luis Gaviria with the IAC. I have the distinct pleasure to saying hello to greeting from the other side of the world, since I see that most of our guests today, this evening for you, are coming from the other side of the world. I'm in Austin, Texas, and something to share with Dr. Sher, by the way. And before we go ahead, I would like to ask our president, Dr. Shan Murthy, to say a few words. Dr. Shan, so happy to have you here today.
Thank you. Good morning, and also the good evening to everyone, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us in our learning circle. And we wish that you will continuously follow our IAC learning circles. This is where we learn and share together and create a wonderful community that is going to make a difference in our families, communities, and organizations. So thank you, Dr. Lewis. All back to you.
My pleasure, my pleasure, dear Shan and friends. Today we have a very, very important opportunity of learning about Dr. William Glasser's choice theory and his approaches, the reality therapy, the reality approach as it relates to coaching. So anyway, for that purpose, we have a very important guest, which is Dr. Sher Kawi Jafar. He's popularly known as Dr. Sher, is a licensed professional counselor, certified coach, a psychoeducational consultant, and a motivator. I kindly ask everyone to open their mics and say hello, putting together our hands for Dr. Sher. Welcome, Dr. Sher.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you, Luis. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure, Dr. Sher, my pleasure. I'm familiar with the choice theory, but I don't know how to apply it. I don't know what to. Number one, what would be the most relevant or distinctive aspects of choice theory? Please enlighten us, Dr. Sher.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here tonight and in the morning where you are. Let me start with a little bit of introduction about myself. And I was born and raised in Malaysia at the age when I was in high school, even before I finished high school, I made a choice. That choice was to be adopted by an American family all the way from Texas who came to Malaysia in May of that year. In October of the same year, I migrated to America, and I don't regret it at all. I look back, and that was very, very interesting. It did not affect me, although at the time that I miss my family and so on. That's very much part of William Glasser's approach, part of his theory for us to make that choice. And whatever choices that we make, we should never regret it. As Frank Sinatra has said, regrets I have none, okay? Then when I was already in America, of course, I faced a lot of problems of trying to adjust to the American environment, to American school and so on. But then again, because of the choice I had made, because that's what I wanted to do. And so I never regretted it. Then when I was in my master's class, I had this Professor Johnson who always told me, Sher, you actually choose to feel that way. I did not realize what she was talking about. Every time I reported to her that I was going through some difficulties in managing my life at the university, and she said, that's your choice. You choose to feel that way. It never registered in my mind that was what choice theory was all about. Until later on, after I graduated with my PhD, then I realized there must be something good about choice theory and reality therapy. I learned so much about it. And in Malaysia, among us, the therapists, particularly among the teachers and the school counselors, they use reality therapy, which is the vehicle for choice theory. And we do that quite often, quite a lot in terms of dealing with children and in school environment. In coaching, you are not the only one, Luis. There are so many people have difficulty in using choice theory or reality approach wholly. But I want to remind everyone is that you can use me. I'm a proponent of reality therapy, a reality approach. What I do is that I'm quite eclectic about it. I try to combine reality therapy, reality approach with something like cognitive behavior therapy, REBT, and plus others, even behavior therapy, because William Glasser himself studied a lot with people who were in cognitive, in the cognitive field. And he did mention in his article that he was fascinated by the founders of cognitive therapies, namely Albert Ellis and Aaron Beck and so on. So what I do is that I personally use choice theory in reality, the reality therapy, reality approach. I mix that with the other methods that I think I'm doing quite well in that area. And if I were to sit down and use my time or the sessions that I have using reality approach wholly, I might not be able to get my clients to really get along with me. And so I do eclectically, Luis, and all of you. As I said earlier, that you are most welcome to interrupt me at any time. And because that's the way I like it, because then we can be quite interactive in our approach. And
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you,
Yes.
Dr. Scher. It picks my imagination, and it also compels me to think from a more philosophical point of view. I have this the notion of free will. And the notion of free will is so sacred or cherished by me and many others in the world. And choice theory and choice and reality approach also pick on that and step on that to create new possibilities. And I believe that is a very powerful, let's say, occurrence. And I celebrate that because it comes back to me and says, I am a free human being. I cannot deal with anyone else's. I cannot change anyone else's behavior, but I can change mine. And that brings power back to me. Why don't you expand on that notion, please, Dr. Scher?
Yes, thank you very much, Luis. That's exactly the basic premise of choice theory or reality approach, is that we make the choice. We want to make sure that we are in control of our behavior, the way we think, the way we feel. And as what my professor has said, you should be in control of the way you feel, not allowing people, others, to control your life, to control your movement. At a very fascinating age, young age, I was already into being responsible for my own action, because choice theory stresses on commitment and responsibility. So when you make your choice, that choice comes with commitment and responsibility. Commitment to the point that I want to make sure that I'm successful. I want to make sure that whatever that I do now will lead to success, because that is one need that William Glasser has mentioned in his studies, is the need for power. I had so much power during that time. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to get my PhD. I wanted to be popular among the students. And that was one need William Glasser had mentioned. That was quite powerful need. But then again, he mentioned, Luis, and the rest of you guys, Captain Shan, Tyne, and so on, we have other needs that we need to look at. Most people who come for coaching, they have some of these needs unfulfilled. And according to Glasser, the most potent one is still the need for love and belonging. And I think, Luis, you should know that already. You are married, you need to be loved, and you need to be part of somebody. Now, what happens is that when we go to counselors and we go to coaches, we have something, we have a problem, we have an issue. And most of these issues center around the need, the unfulfilled needs for love and belonging, because we may not be communicating well with others. We may have animosity with others in our lives. Maybe you have had arguments that make you feel real down. Because William Glasser says that should your need for love and belonging not strong, fragile, then your other needs for joy, needs for power, needs and other needs. There are 5 of these basic needs that William Glasser considered as innate. And I think the most important of the 5 needs, still the need to belong, the need to be loved and to love someone in our life. When that is disconnected, when we have arguments, we have problems with someone that is significant in our life, everything else will not be fulfilled to the max. And that's what's happening. Most of us, most of the clients, even patients that I have difficulty to interact with significant others in their lives. Yes, Louis, I know.
That is so powerful, Dr. Sher. And it also brings the notion that underneath every emotional difficulty that we have, there is a relational problem. Right. If I have something in my emotions that are not, it is not sitting well, there is not completeness, there must be something related to relationships. Is that right, Dr. Sher?
That is correct. That's what William Glasser has espoused, because once we have difficulty in our relations with someone or significant others, could be your teacher, could be professor, it could be your associate, your bosses, then other things will not be even partially fulfilled. Let us say that I have difficulty with my boss, and my need for power, meaning that for my career, for knowledge and so on, will be affected. So William Glasser and his cohorts believe that when someone is having a problem, almost always that problem has some relational problem to it, as Luis has said a while ago. Thank you for clarifying that and reinforcing the idea that William Glasser has put forward.
That's very powerful. You had, Dr. Sher, some slides that you said you wanted to share with us. Would you like to do that now? Whenever you can, whenever you want?
Yeah, I will do that. Okay, let me see where my slides are.
In the meantime, I would like just to, here on the sides, to celebrate that Dr. Sher lived here in the area, pretty much close to where I live right now in Austin, Texas. And it was just a matter of time that we could have, it's a shame we didn't collide, if I may.
Yeah, that's right. Let me see. Oh, when we want to do something, all this.
Oh,
Meeting cancel. Let me do
Dr.
this.
Sher, don't worry.
Yes.
If you have any difficulty sharing, just
Yeah,
keep on.
I have my assistant here. I need to go.
Mhm.
So you delete that one, yes. Yeah, which one? Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, we see handsome faces there. All right, and then you go to the next one. Go to the next slide. Yeah, as I started earlier, that I started learning about choice theory, reality therapy. Then in coaching, we use the word approach rather than therapy, because my mentor, Captain Shan, warned me, don't ever use the word therapy, because we coaches don't do therapies. So, well, Captain Shan, it's hard for me not to say therapy, but I follow your instruction because, yeah, I do. I follow your instruction, and I have a little bit of uneasy to use the word, the phrase reality approach. So that's the way it was for me. I migrated from Malaysia to America, and I was adopted. It's a lot of adjustment to be made and so on. I studied, I was the only, quote unquote, at that time, someone like brown person, did not know who I was at that time. Then I had no regrets for having left Malaysia and to go to the new frontier in my life, and then doing everything that I wanted to do in America. There was some regrets, but other than that, it was just okay. Because I decided to, that's what choice theory is all about. When you make your decision, when you decide what you want to do, that's your choice. And you have to be responsible for it. And you have to be committed to making it a part of your life and commit yourself to your cause. And that's what I did until I got my PhD, until I studied, continued my work in America as well. So what it is, the reality approach is having to help people, our coaches, to focus on their current issues. William Glasser did not like about psychoanalysis and so on, because most psychoanalytic practitioners we focus on the past. But in reality therapy, in choice theory, we don't. We focus right here and now, here, right in front of you. That's what Captain Shan has told me, did tell me, did educate us. Don't ever get into the past of these individuals. Get into what's happening now in their life. And I learned as well, Luis and all of you, is that when I do reality approach, is having to do one choice at a time. We don't want to inundate our coachee with too many choices. So we ask them, what choice do they have? Which one that they want to work on? Something having to do with relationship with someone. So doing a reality approach or choice theory, one choice at a time. We don't inundate these people with too many choices and they do not know what to do. So I ask them normally, which area, who that you want to work on, whose relationship with whom that you want to work on now, because I know whatever that is, if you follow William Glasser's legacy, is that everything centers on our relationship with certain people in our lives, could be your bosses and so on. Then in a reality approach, we encourage our coachee to make that changes as quickly as possible. They may resist at the very beginning, like many clients, many coaches, at the very beginning when they introduce something new, they don't want to do that. But that's where we come in. We as coaches, we want to make sure whatever that you do is for them, And then they may resist at the very beginning, but we work towards it until that person says, well, I will do everything I can to improve my relationship with this significant individual. To get that person from saying no to begin with, to be ambivalent about their relation or changing, then to get them to say, oh, I'm committed. I will do everything I can in my power to make those changes. Maybe small incremental changes. They need to make that and be committed and certainly be responsible to whatever they do or they don't do. Okay. Yes, Luis, you have something to say about that?
Oh, that is very powerful. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sher. One of the things that comes to mind is the fact that in the IAC Masteries, there is a powerful mastery that goes along with this, and it really creates a lot of resonance in my heart. And that is process in the present. And that is just right, what you just presented. Please go ahead, Dr. Sher.
Yes, very much so. We don't have to worry about our masteries because it's already part of our second nature. And so we just, we can just put our effort into helping these individuals. The masteries will come into play so naturally. So when, establishing rapport, the trust, the processing and getting them to build the resources, they all come in very, very nicely, very, very well. And then I use the GROW method of communicating or coaching with my either clients or my coaches, because that is so simple. Although William Glass's partner, I think we're bolding, his name is, and then also they have this WDEB, but I still use what Grace and Captain Shan have introduced us at the very beginning when I first entered into coaching, the GROW method, and it does well, because when you talk about GROW, you talk about reality, where they are now, where they want to be. That's very important in reality therapy, that reality, what that person is facing now. And so if that's what he is, then if that's what the reality is, and then that person should be able to change that. I think we need to help our coaches to actually clarify oh my goodness, I'm losing with certain words. Clarify their reality. All right. And yes. Okay, let me see. I have this. I think, as I had mentioned earlier, I think when I studied under Captain Shan and Grace and the rest of the people with whom I studied, we always go for solution, whether you use solution-focused brief therapy or we just focus on solution. That's where choice theory or reality approach is all about. It's all helping our coaches to find a solution based on their reality at this moment, the here and now. And until they get that solution, they will not be able to satisfy the other 4 or 5 needs. And then certainly the Rogerian person-centered, I'm sure that Luis and all of you are familiar with Carl Rogers, who believe in here and now, who believe in unconditional acceptance, who believe in creating. I think that's what we also do in coaching, creating an environment where it is conducive for the coachee to interact with us. You all need to know that when coaches see us, they must be able to see us as a model person that they can model with. So you have to really behave well when you use the choice therapy, the reality therapy, because your coaches may look at you as a model, someone that they want to relate with. I love cognitive behavior therapy. I do that most of the time in my conversation with people, in my therapy as well, the emotional rational emotive behavior therapy, and so on. So cognitive's all about what's in their mind. Of all you know, Louise and gang, of all you know is that that's what they think. Sometimes I have to find out, is that mostly their thought, or what's the evidence that they are thinking that way and about a person? So sometimes I get to a little bit to discuss that. Be mindful too that a Rogerian person-centered is not the directive approach. So it's more person-centered that are learning coaching where you go along with your coaches and so on. Don't antagonize them, don't make them feel uncomfortable. But then choice theory is a combination of directive and non-directive approaches. There are times when I catch myself being directive. I'm a directive person anyway, even in my counseling and therapy. I'm quite directive because I use emotional behavior therapy and so on. So this is very much directive. So choice theory, reality approach, they adopt that directive methods and the non-directive methods. Oh, let me talk to you about the 5 human needs. According to Glasgow, we were born with that. And these are innate. And first is the love in belonging. Now, this is one need that we have so paramount in our life, so potent in our life. If you have not such a good relationship with someone in your life, certainly you don't have fun. Certainly that will stop you from feeling like a winner, or certainly you don't enjoy your life. And I think when you see someone like Luis, for instance, oh, I love my coach, Captain Shan. He's always having a good time in my life. And I always saw him having, such a closeness with his wife. So you see, with Captain Shan, he doesn't need reality coaching because his relationship with people is intact, is on the very top of the list. I admire that. But there are people who are unfortunate enough to have difficulty in attaining that love and belonging to family members, to significant others in their lives, could be their friends, and so on. If that particular need is not fulfilled, even partially fulfilled, then the other needs may be affected. So when you work with your coaches, work on that love and belonging needs, and rather than the rest, because once that coachee improves the love and belonging, the need for love and belonging, and the rest of the needs will be come into play, and then I believe that it will just jive well. All right, Luis?
Absolutely.
And Captain Shan, Tan, and the rest?
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things that I would like to highlight that you just presented, and it is there. This, for instance, not only those needs that you so nicely presented, the need for freedom, independence, and personal autonomy, that particular one is especially highlighted from the neuroscience point of view, because our brain needs to create autonomy. We need to learn how to fly like eagles, and someone needs to tell us and teach us how to do that, because there is a sense of completion there. So no, very, very interesting, Dr. Sher. Please go ahead, or if you want to interact.
Thank you very much. No, I love interruptions. I'm one person that enjoys interruptions, because that's when I can sense that you are getting along with me. All right.
Yeah.
When we talk about behavior, and William Glasser mentioned, which I agree, that all behavior that you have, regardless what that behavior is all about satisfying the 5 basic needs, which I mentioned in the previous slide. And again, so much of that behavior having to deal with people in our lives. like where you are now, every one of us, we deal so many people in our lives. My nephews and wife live with me. It's constantly rejuvenating the relationship with something good to say and so on. I think because I do that, because I also have that need for safety. They live with me. That give me the sense of safety. And then at the same time, I have quite a large house. I want to maintain my autonomy and my independence from them. There are times when I need my private time. You see, if my relationship with them is not strong, it is broken or semi-broken, then I would not be able to enjoy other needs like power and so on. So behavior is very purposeful. Don't ever say that, oh, I don't intend to behave that way, but you do, because it is very powerful. And I think I want to remind our friends here is that William Glasser focuses on the observable behavior, the behavior that we see, a very, very conscious effort that we behave that way. There's no such thing as what psychoanalysis or psychoanalytic people say behavior is so subconscious. And reality approach, that behavior is conscious. People are aware of that behavior, but then they go ahead and do it anyway. And then they become irresponsible for behaving that way, and they blame others. So that's what's happening. They behave and they see that they don't. And then when they realize that they behave that way, and then they say, oh, this is not a big deal kind of thing. So they are not responsible for that behavior. I think William Glasser has changed the world. And I think we all need to be responsible for our own action, the behavior, the feelings, the thinking that we have. That's what choice theory is teaching us, Luis and the rest of the gang, because that's the way things are. Otherwise, that person start blaming somebody else for whatever frailties that they have, whatever shortcomings that they experience. That's not good. That's not a good sign. So in therapy, no, in coaching, we want them to become more aware that that behavior they have that was very purposeful, and whether they agreed or not. And that's what we are teaching them. So next time when they behave, they have to be very conscious in the way they behave at least, okay? Captain Shan, Tan, and the rest of my friends, you all have questions? Luis, I love your feedback.
Yeah, there is, Len Rothman wrote, given many of our choices are from our ego, which may not have us believe the choice is what I want best for me, and feels like free will. Per choice theory, if we are listening to our still small voice, what's the value of making that choice for each opportunity? That's a note. I'm sorry if I'm not, let me see. If we are listening to our still small voice, what's the value of making that choice for each opportunity? Then he says, cheers on being willing to include concept of therapy. And then he says, what do you experience and notice, Dr. Jafar, when you're coaching, living from your embodied choice theory? That's something that he wrote. Oh. And we have another one then.
All right. Can I go to the next slide? All right. So the other one, that the control part. So in choice theory, reality approach, we focus on the control, whether our behavior is externally controlled. People tell me to do that. People ask me to do it. And it's all about external control. What we teach, what we coach people is to learn to have the internal control. I learn to control the way I think, the way I behave, and so on. If we can get people to focus on their internal control. Otherwise, they will blame somebody else all the time. Sometimes you know it, Luis, and the rest of the gang, they always blame somebody else. So choice theory, a reality approach comes in where, hey, what about you? Don't you blame yourself, kind of thing. And then get them to get awakened by the fact that so much of their behavior is controlled by situations, by people, and so on. Okay. And they must be responsible and committed to that behavior. All right. So this is what I had said a while ago. In psychology, we have this, I'm sure that you guys are familiar with, internal locus of control. Someone with high locus of control, they know what to do with themselves. They direct themselves. They talk to themselves, as Louis has mentioned a while ago. They listen to their inner voices, the small voices. That's people with high locus of control. When people have low locus of control or no locus of control, they are at the mercy of others. They become vulnerable. When they are so vulnerable, that's where they seek help. In this case, they seek coaching and they become vulnerable. That's where we come in. We help them to, hey, you don't have to live that way anymore. You can be in control of your own behavior. So using one situation at a time, one choice at a time, with whom that he wants to work on that reality therapy with, and learning how to reinforce his locus of control. Then, as I said earlier, responsibility, commitment, and willingness to change. And if that person is not willing to change, and then you can be directive a little bit. And then if he continues, no, I don't believe in this internal control. I believe that someone makes me, someone causes me to be this way. And then if that person is vehement about that, and then I say that, well, he may not be entitled to reality coaching, so we may suggest them for some other helping situations like therapy and so on. So commitment, as I said earlier, that if we can get our coach to say, I will do whatever it takes to change my life, to change my relationship, I will do whatever it takes. If they say, oh, I'll try, let me see if I can. No, that's not commitment. Commitment comes with them saying in front of us, verbatim, I will do whatever it takes to change my life. I learned that when I was still young. I did everything that would take me to change my life. I was born poor, and I did not want to go back to poverty. And so back in Malaysia at that time, I want to make sure that I do everything in my power to change my life. And I was responsible for everything that I had. Most of the time, I was responsible by my adoptive family. Sometimes they caution me, you don't appear to be that responsible. I am. I want to be responsible for my own action. Just being online with you, wonderful guys, you don't think that I did not have anxiety. Because William Glasgow says, why do you have anxiety? Because I know that I will be facing Louis, I will be facing all these dignified people, and then, oh my gosh. So, but then again, I said, I want to make sure that I do the very best I can. I want to make sure our fraternity here, our coaches, friends, our groups, they're all proud of me. That's why I want to do the very best I can. According to Captain Chance, I may be the first person to appear in this international forum. So am I doing my very best? I think I am. I don't know about you, but I think I'm doing my very best I can. And it's not because Captain Shan told me to do it. No, I mean, Captain Shan called me, yes, Captain Shan, I will do it Although I can be camera shy at times, video shy, but I'm going to be doing that. I am responsible for coming up with the slides, talking to Tanki and on, and so on. That's my responsibility. I don't have to just sit down and get things just done for me. Okay, Luis, I stop there so that you can, I give some airtime to some others. So Luis want to say something?
I just wanted to let you know that there are going to be some impending questions that we can address at the end, but this is so powerful. I'm very engaged. I'm so happy that you're bringing this into our learning circle that we celebrate so much. So get going, Dr. Sher.
Appreciate that. All right, let's take a look at our relationship with our coaches. Remember, you are a role model. When they look at you as someone they would have liked to have in their life. Yes. But if you are there making mistakes, if you are there not demonstrating the model that I was looking for, and then that would be, that would be quite bad, and it will not lead to success. And I think all of us need to model that behavior. We get that model behavior from the coaching. What kind of person that you are looking for, that you're kind of person that with whom that you would enjoy your relationship, a kind of thing, you know what I mean? Yes. So they will tell you, I like people who are professional. I like people to be open-minded, to be supporting. I think in my 3 months of learning with Captain Shine and Grace and the rest of the friends, we have to be supportive. There's no other way to that. We have to. No, we have no excuse if you are not supporting your people. We have to be encouraging. One thing I learned from psychology, to be able to encourage people to use positive reinforcement and so on. Oh, by the way, people, this all having to do with positive psychology. It would be wonderful for us to know about positive psychology, because reality approach takes so much from the positive psychology. Oh, look at that, listening. Can you imagine the what we call engaged listening in our mastery? You know, without listening, you can go nowhere. That listening is so important in this relationship, because in our coaches' life, they have never been listened to. They are always interrupted. So that's why they are having problems with these people in their lives. So let's turn around. Hey, listen. Empathic listening, that's what we say in psychology, in counseling, but in our mastery, it's engaged listening. I'm not just talking you fake listening. Somebody else mentioned the other miracle learning, and you have to listen. I mean, miracle listening, you have to even listen with your eyes. Can you imagine that? And I learned that the other day, not just from your heart, from your eyes. Read nonverbal behavior and so on. I believe that listening is on the very top. Accepting, that's where the Carl Rogers comes in. Accept people as they are. Accept these coaches as they are. Don't try to change them. Try to change their behavior. Try to help them to change a specific behavior that is not productive in having that relationship, positive relations. Okay, listen, the trusting, can you imagine? That's our number one mastery thing, if I'm not mistaken. To establish that trust from the very, very beginning of our relationship with our coaches, and certainly respecting, people come to see us, they come with all kinds of orientations, in America, or we have rules of orientation towards this, orientation towards that. It's okay. Whatever they come in, whatever package that they come in, it's okay. You are there to help them out. You are there to help them to make one choice at a time. That choice may be life-changing choice. And that's where you can be so instrumental in helping that person to start with one choice I think I learned that from my coaching classes that, oh, don't try to do so many things. One thing at a time. That's why they scream at us in class. We know I'm so motivated. I want to do everything. So Captain Shan said, one choice at a time, one thing at a time, one this, one that at a time. So I learned that. So these are the uncaring habits. William Glasser had mentioned that. Balding had mentioned that. Don't ever criticize them. You will. This is going to turn them off. And even when they come dressed shabbily, some others like Gestalt and so on, they will tell that person, are you aware that you are not fully dressed? Are you aware that you are not dressed properly and so on? That's Gestalt. In reality approach, in choice theory, a person chose to be that way. So maybe later on, if he thinks that is not a good choice, they may be able to change that. Don't ever blame. Don't get them to blame the past, to blame this person's situations. And no, don't. We don't even blame them. We tell them, oh, don't ever say like, I think it's all your fault. You never did make the first move to your wife. That's why you get the divorce. And you don't blame them. And you don't complain. Even when they come to class, according to Captain Shan, is still ringing in my ear. Even when they don't come to your coaching, that's their choice. They choose not to come to you. You know, in choice theory, Lewis and the rest, even when you don't choose, it's a choice. You choose not to choose. So that person is not choosing to come and see you. Don't complain. They may be having, that's where our cognitive thinking, cognitive therapy comes in. They may be doing something else. They may be trying something new in their life, nagging, because that's what these people with whom they have difficulty, they always nag. His wife, his mother, his parents always nag at them, or don't do that. In other words, we do not want to demonstrate the behavior of these people that has caused problems in the life of these individuals. Don't coerce, don't threaten them, don't tell them, if you don't do this, this is what going to happen. Oh, we don't punish them. Even if they come late to our coaching session, we still greet them, we still salute them for coming and so on, because they look at you and you are the model of a person that they want to have in their life. That's why your relationship with your coaches is so potent. It's so great, so spiritual in nature, that you don't want to do anything to actually violate the principles of good relationship. Oh,
Perfect.
that's about all.
Very powerful. Very powerful.
Thank you very much, Luis. I love doing it.
Dr. Sher, just for the sakes of having you orchestrate your time and all that, we have some 12 minutes left in our learning circle today. How would you like to play it? Because it's up to you. You can enlighten us, you can illustrate us more as you wish, or would you like to have some time for a couple interactions? How would you like to play it?
Oh, I want to be interactive with my audience. I'm sure that they have a lot of questions to ask. Maybe they disagree with me. It's okay.
So would you like to round up your point and then go back to the Q&A?
Yes, definitely. So people, choice theory, reality approach can be employed in our coaching practices. And when you feel that you can do that, and I think we have to be equipped with ourselves with how to do the reality approach in our coaching. Don't try it at the very beginning with your real life coach. Try with somebody else to begin with. Read a lot of articles, read a lot of books, and be friend with people who are practitioners of choice theory or reality approach. Another thing is that I remind all of us is that reality approach or choice theory, they're not the only ones that you can employ, but you may employ as I had shown a while ago, some others that you are familiar with, either cognitive approaches or behavior approaches, ACE or K. When you do the choice, the reality approach, don't be shy to use the other approaches as well. You can do it eclectically, whatever makes a difference in the lives of the coachee, or in the coach's mind and so on. Yes, at this moment, I'll let for our audience to ask me questions.
Oh, that's wonderful, wonderful. Dr. Sher, there is the question of Len Rothman. He asks, what do you experience and notice, Dr. Jafar, when you're coaching, living from your embodied choice theory? What do you experience and notice while using your choice theory?
Oh, I think I have to always be cognizant when I am doing the reality, because not many people respond well to reality approach, because they don't like for us to highlight the fact that they may be the cause of all this. They have to take that responsibility. So you may play with other approaches to begin with. If you feel comfortable in using the choice theory or the reality approach, by all means do that. But even the veterans in choice therapy, in reality therapy, they don't use it 100% in a session, because they use other as well. Okay, I think that's what I experienced in working with my either clients in my counseling or in my coaching. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Sher. We have another one here, and that's from Saurabh Mohanty from India. Thank you, Saurabh. By the way, choice theory is about making choices. How do you see this connecting with the IAC Mastery's number 8, inviting possibility?
Oh, definitely it does have a direct link to that inviting possibility, because in coaching, reality coaching, we get our coaches to identify their possibilities, the areas when we look into the grow method. That's where the W comes in, the way forward and the options that they have. So when you get into the options, that's where all these possibilities, we encourage them to come forward. And okay, when we get into the options, but what would be the likelihood that you will do this and you will do that kind of thing? I think it does link with any one of the masteries. So, yeah, I think my friend and all of you, once you get the masteries embedded in your life, sometimes you don't even connect that consciously. And that's what we want to do. At the very beginning, I was very conscious in using the masteries. When I do engage with people, before you know it gets into our, just like second nature. So when you ask me, oh yeah, of course I do that when I get into the option side of the girl. All right, thank you for asking.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sher. Renee Elhill Smith, I don't know if I pronounced your last name properly, I apologize for that. Can others be the catalyst for self-reflection?
And what?
Can others be the catalyst for self-reflection?
Oh, I think we live with others. We are not just, we have people in our lives. Sometimes interacting with the right people, with the people that they want, with people who model certain behavior. We encourage them, our coaches, to interact with these people, because these people, the positive people, will act as a catalyst, will trigger some thoughts about, oh, how can I be better in my relationship with these people? Yeah, I would go along with that. Encourage your coaches to interact with people of different types, of different orientations, mostly positive people. Because they have been interacting with negative people. Now we encourage them, hey, associate with people who are so positive in their life and so on. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sher. Lin Yong-jin asks, so if the person has mental illness, they will not be suitable to be coached through choice theory?
Absolutely. William Glasser has warned us. Well, William Glasser mentioned that all illnesses can be handled nicely by using the reality approach or reality or choice theory. But the core ones, all these core problems like schizophrenia and personality disorders, yes, along with intellectual disabilities and so on. Sometimes we are not able to do so. But the articles that I have read, many people with depression, anxiety, and stress, they do respond well to choice theory or reality approach. But when you get into the very core of our mental diagnosis, our mental illnesses, and then we better get the others, the psychiatrists, the clinical psychology to take care. That's the first thing that we learn in coaching classes. When you sense that these people do have mental illnesses, and don't start the coaching session, refer them to somebody else. But then again, in coaching, in using choice theory, reality approach, we try our best to see, but then it will take a lot of time, a lot of sessions. And William Glasser's proposal is that I think 6 to 7 sessions would be sufficient. I also have clients who are having some mental problems. I'm talking about real, and then of course I don't use coaching with them. Certainly, I'm not able to do that. So thanks for asking, Lynn.
Thank you, Dr. Sher. And also, of course, thank you to Lin Yong-jin. Now, there is time for only one more question. I apologize for the rest, not being able to address every one of them, but there is one that I would like to ask you, and this comes from Hector. What questions can be used to help people become aware and take ownership of a reality they are running from?
Oh, well, now we get into the questioning part. So I think when you use the GROW method, or can use any one of them. And when it comes to reality, and then I think that's where the question comes in. Now, could you rephrase that, Luis?
Sure,
question?
Absolutely. What questions can be used to help people become aware and take ownership of a reality that they are not accepting, they are running from?
All right. So the question could be, when you are being screamed at, were you aware what had happened to you, the way you thought, the way you felt, and so on? When you realize that that's the way you felt, what actions would you take? What would you say to yourself? And this is very, very important, because in choice theory, people allow themselves to be victims. So now we teach them to become more aware, and then the R in the GROW would be, what would you do? Knowing this is what you have been doing in the past.
All right.
I think that's about all.
It's about all. Hey, Dr. Sher, please let me thank you so much for your enlightenment and what you've been bringing to us this evening, this morning. I would like to tell everyone, Thank you so much for being here. I kindly ask everyone to open their mics and let's make a noise, a celebration noise of being together today and enjoying here. Thank you so much.
Alhamdulillah.
Kishan, thank you so much. Jan, Charlie, everybody. A big hug from America.
America.
Wow. That's just,
Charlie,
oh
are we
my
going to be
gosh,
putting the
that's
last video?
And we have minor dog.
Hi, Mino as well.
Bye.
My goodness, we have a lot of friends here.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
The International Association of Coaching. Home of the coaching masteries.